Hey guys, it's Christine Bertram, and I'm coming to you live from the Hive on a Monday night. And you know what time it is? It's time for mystery card making night. Woohoo! So, we're gonna let everybody rock and roll right in and see who all joins us for tonight. We are going to make an amazing card tonight. I'm so excited for this one. You guys, it's a little bit like a fun fold. Hi, Deanne. Hi, Sandy. Woohoo, the gang's rolling in. So I think some of you have maybe made a card like this in the past. I know if you've been following me for a few years, I did a Christmas card with this exact layout. Hi, Cindy. Thanks for sharing. I did a Christmas cardinal layout with it was a toily Christmas from like 2 or 3 years ago. Hi Doris, hi Betty, hi Jamie, hi Mo, woohoo, hi Christina, woohoo. Okay, so I would call this a fun fold, and we're hoping so Kelly and I are hoping that you guys will you will get it all figured out once we rock and roll through it. Hi Mary Jo, hi Deb, hi Crystal, hi Kay. Oh man, you guys, I'm waiting for the storm to come in. So apparently we're supposed to be getting about 5 inches of snow tonight. Hi, Ann Bellinger. And it's supposed to, hi Gwen Petroshek. We're supposed to get it through tomorrow. So there's a winter weather advisory. Hi Linda Hall, hi Carla Lake, hi Sandy Zudun, Kathy King, woohoo, hi Lynn Beasley, hi Kathy Groves, Laura Sullivan, Susie Snow. So we're supposed to have there's a winter weather advisory. Hi Melly. Hi Janice, hi Leslie, from now until sometime about 6 o'clock tomorrow. So we're supposed to get some snow and ice and sleet and crap, blah. So hi Nita, hi Kathy, hi Christina. Oh man, Megan's here too. Wow, you guys, so many names. Hi Barbara Godby, Margaret Rika, Jean Marie, Sue Volts. Sue, I believe you still have a prize hanging underneath the counter in the mudroom from something from last month or the month before. So maybe sometime grab that. Hi, Tammy Steckling. Hi, Wendy. So, keep it, right, Laura says. I don't think we have a choice. Oh, you're supposed to get freezing rain in Dubuque. Oh, yuck. Hi, Mary Lemke. So I hope you guys are really excited. I know that Mary just said she's excited for the card. I'm very excited too. Hi, Elaine Reback. Hi, Luann Johnson. Hi, Stacy Warner. I'm excited for this one too. It's gonna make you guys think a little bit. So I guess my advice, snow is coming but 6 to 8 inches here in Marshfield. Okay, that's not so bad. Anything, oh yeah, 6 to 8 inches is bad. I'm gonna say it's bad. Hi, France. Hi, Feline. You are in a winter storm advisory as well. You had 20 vehicle pileup. Oh no, that's not good. Oh no, thoughts and prayers for all the people that were involved. Hi, Karen Wetstein. There's Ellen Brover and Lisa, Debbie Schultz, Donna. Awesome, you guys. Oh my gosh. And just like that, in 3 minutes, we have 94 people watching. That just blows my mind. Hi, Barb King. And so this card, you guys, hi, Arliss. I am going to give you a little heads up. So, because it is a different type of a fold and a different way to make it. Hi, Mary Gunn. We're ready to have some fun. You may consider not necessarily, because the ribbon might trick some of you, or how you want to use ribbon might be hard, and I don't want to tell you to glue something down and then you wish you would have put ribbon or maybe added a doily or did something. Hi, Julie Frost from Ohio, and Dolores and Sharon. It is probably all across the country. I'm hoping that I don't freeze because of whatever crazy weather is out there. So you guys, for those that are new to me, sometimes my video freezes. I don't know why it chooses to do that, but it's a connection between my phone up here and my tablet. And what happens is, as soon as we start to see it freeze, I disconnect and reconnect it, and then life is good. And it doesn't do it every time. So if you're new to me and have never watched, hi Betsy, hi Bonnie, hi Kimberly and Heather. If you're new to me and it does start to freeze, like where it's solid freezing, just hang tight, come back in, and we'll keep going. And always know that if your internet is spotty or sketchy and it's not downloading good, then maybe it would be good to catch the replay. Hi, Kathy. Oh my gosh, so many Kathys. I'm just as crazy. The Kathys and the Barbs, you guys. I think if I had to pick the number one name of the people who follow me and my customer base and my team base, I would have to say Kathy's and Barb's and Nancy's. Hi, Katie Schmidt. Hi, Julie Bierschbach. Hi, Amy. Oh, man. So for those of you that are new to this, give me a thumbs up. If you have been watching Mystery Night before, give me some hearts so I can kind of see where the audience is at. Hi, Margie. Hi, Penny Powell. Hi, Mary Jo. Where is Iola, Wisconsin? Okay, so Iola, Wisconsin is about an hour and a half from Fond du Lac, actually. So you would go up. So from Fond du Lac, you take 41 north and you catch 45 to Highway 10 and you go 10 across the east side of the, like towards the west of Fond du Lac. And you get to like Stevens Point, and then I think Kathy Jackson, if you're watching, Kathy, that you're about like 20 minutes from there. So because Kathy Jackson's from Iola, and she and my brother had to connect to get something to me. I can't remember, or for me to get something to Kathy, or vice versa. So hi, Noreen. Okay, so I've got a mixture. So I saw lots of hearts, which is awesome. And so just know that my community of stampers that is watching right now, they are very helpful as well. So if I miss a question that somebody asks, they're right on it too to help. Usually my cousin Kelly, who helps me with my Cards by Christine Facebook page, watches, but she hasn't for the last few months because she's got 2 boys and she's been really busy with the Children's Museum. So I'm going to call on my regulars to help me if I miss something. That would be awesome. Hi, Sherry Martin. So the object for tonight, you guys, for those of you have not heard me say this before, if you have watched me a time or two, my main objective is for you to have fun. And Mary Gunn would spell it F-U-N-N. So this event is never meant to cause you stress or be overwhelmed or uncertainty. Well, maybe there's uncertainty, but it's not like in a negative way. It's a challenge. You're at 80 degrees, Kathy Grove. I love it, Kathy. That's awesome. So enjoy it and eat it up. Oh, first mystery for Pat Willis. Awesome. Okay, so just a reminder, have fun tonight, you guys. I've not really watched other demonstrators or gals do mystery card nights. I do mine a certain way, and others do theirs different ways. So this might be a little bit different than what you're used to, but what I do is I walk through and I have my scrap pieces of paper that are set to the right size, and I put together like a fake card because I don't want you to see my card. I will showcase my card on Thursday night after I'm done with my class, which is the ink, paper, scissors, the hand pen class. That's when we'll do the drawing for the mystery card night winners, which I will explain at the end. And also that's where I'll show my card. I just don't want you guys to be influenced in any way. This is for you to practice your creative skills and get inspired. And the main thing also too is I would love for you to use stuff that you already have. We all love to buy new crafting supplies, I think. I'm going to bucket us in a general term that we love to buy new toys and new gadgets and new paper and new ink and scissors and all that kind of stuff. And what I love about Mystery Card Night for you is that it doesn't necessarily require you to go out and buy something new specifically for this class. I love for you to use something that you haven't used before. Dora Laura says, so much fun. Yay! Hi, Barb Baylor. Hi, Deborah Schultz. So this is for you to use what you have. Some of the gals that do Mystery Card Night have advice. If you're having a hard time not knowing what papers or stamps to pick or colors to pick, like Chris has told me this many, many times, what she does first is she will pick her designer series paper. And then from there, depending on what theme or holiday we're kind of in. Hi, Kathy Jackson. Thanks for sharing. So she'll start with her designer series paper. And then because she knows the designer paper, then she knows what coordinating cardstock she can use. And then she picks her stamp sets and inks to go with it. So hi, Linda Hindy. So that's kind of like a little bit of advice. Some people make their card with me, like right now. And within a minute or two after I create the graphic to share, or post the graphic to share, people are already posting their cards. So there is no right or wrong way to make your card. Just know that your direction could change. This is for you to make a card, and I just want you to make a card. That's the main thing, and to be happy with it. You're welcome to make multiple cards, get inspired, and then to share your card at the end is what puts you in the drawing. And I do a winner for every 20 people that share cards. I do a door prize drawing, and we'll do that live on Thursday. So the other thing that I like to remind people is this event is free. I don't charge for this. So sometimes there are some spammers that find their way in and infiltrate my page. And I think they do that to others too. And some of you saw a person, I don't even know if it was a guy or a girl, but the name was Eric Brown. He or she has been since deleted and banned from my page because they were phishing, okay? So when stuff looks weird and people are like, oh, sometimes when things look weird, I love it when people reach out to me and say, hey, is this a spammer? Or, just so you know this is on your page, because I don't always catch that. So just know that sometimes there's people that like to sneak in and get you to do clickbait, you guys. So just be aware that does happen, and from time to time it happens. For this, when I'm live, I try to delete the comments right away. And you guys are so good. When you see it, you say, hey, that's a spammer. Don't reply. So, okay. And Mary Jo always goes through her scrap pile first to find paper. I love it. Yes, use up those scraps, you guys. So, let's see here. The other thing too is for those that are new, I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I sell Stampin' Up! Products. But that doesn't mean you have to use Stampin' Up! Stuff for this. You guys, I just want you to use whatever you have in your Stampin' Arsenal or vault and be happy with the card that you make. And if you ever need anything from Stampin' Up!, just know that I am a demonstrator, and generally most of my classes, except for a few of them, can be earned for free with placing a minimum order. So if there's ever things that you need and you're seeing a class that's interesting that's coming up, we can connect and get you that class for free with your order. Hi, Mo, using paper pumpkin kits. Wonderful. Everything coordinates already. Hi, Trudy. Okay, so I have a little list here. Let's see if there's anything else generally that, and if anybody that is a seasoned mystery card night stamper with me wants to add any advice, they can definitely add in the comments. I think the main thing is have fun, and I think somebody already said that too. And don't stress, you guys. I look for your feedback. I go through the clues, and when I get a general feeling that most people are done with that clue is when I roll into clue number 2. So always remember that if you're not quite done with that clue, it's okay. You can keep watching and watch the general plan of attack for making the card, and then you can always finish it at the end or catch the replay as well. So Bonnie took a little bit to find, but you made it. Woo woo. I love it. Yes, better late than never, and we really didn't start yet. Hi Robin, hi Judy Bobo, and it's Linda Hall's first mystery card night. I love it. Okay, so without further ado, hi Karen Drain from Erie, Michigan. So Karen, Tyler and I have put it on the calendar that we might be rolling through Erie in September. And if that happens, I would love to connect with you. I know we have a planned stop at the Erie Brewing Company. So, oh, Judy from the stormy Upper Michigan, you already got the storm coming through. Hi, Terry Costin. Okay, so just remember, you guys, there is no right or wrong way with this card. And the first thing we're going to do is go through clue number 1, just to make sure you have all your paper pieces in order, okay? So, hi, Mary Lou from Ohio. Awesome. Okay, so there's Dawn Reader. Yay, Dawn. Awesome. Dawn, I don't know if I told you, but I think you have an order hanging underneath the counter in the mudroom. Maybe I told you and you got it already, but if I didn't tell you, I failed to tell you, it's still there hanging underneath the counter in the mudroom. From your last order that you got with winning a sale-a-bration. Oh, it's not there. With winning a sale-a-bration board. So, yay. All right, there's Jean Monroe from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Was confused with today and tomorrow. You know, confusion is a thing that happens a lot to a lot of all of us all these days, it seems. So you're in a boat amongst many in good company. Hi, Mary Ty. All right, let me flip down, you guys. And we're going to go through our first clue. Well, let me know if you're in Erie, Michigan. I'll meet up to, oh, Laura Sullivan. Yes. Okay. So that would be awesome. You guys, okay. Hi, Deanna Estelle. I think I said hi already to you, Deanne. But, oh, Dawn picking up Wednesday. Perfect. Okay. I generally announce when I'm going places. So when you guys, this is going to be a little bit bigger trip because we're taking off like 8 days or 7 days. So So when it comes time to that, Laura and Karen, then what you will have to connect and make plans and figure out the timing of it also. Perfect. All right. So, all right. Hi, Sue Somerville. All right, you guys, this is clue number 1. Oh, I forgot to do my thing. Are you ready for clue number 1? Which you already should be, you guys. All right. Hi, Sarah New. All right, you guys, there's a little bit of lingo to some of you that are new. And just in case you didn't catch what's going on with, let's click here, new comments. Perfect. We have some coding on the clue in case you missed it. T equals tall and W equals wide. Come up through the UP at first on your way back. You guys, I could travel all over the United States and then I would get to connect with almost everybody, I think. Oh man. So T equals tall and W equals wide. And that makes a difference when we're talking about designer series paper. So for example, like if there's a pattern to your paper, like this means tall and this means wide. This is for an upcoming class next month, New Horizons. So that's what the tall and wide mean. Wide is this way, tall is this way, okay? All right, the other thing that's on here that's coding is the W and the V. So W means white and V means vanilla. And that's important depending on your tones of your card. So like in this case, the tones, this is for that same class, New Horizons. Like if this is like more cool, we generally use white. But if I'm looking for vanilla. So like if you got more warm colors, then I pull in vanilla, okay? So that's where the white and the vanilla come in. That's fun folds, you guys. Hi, Angela Knutson. Thank you for sharing, everybody. I really appreciate it. So that's where the W and the V comes in. The other kind of coding you see here are pieces. We try to tell you how many pieces of each one. So like here it's 3 pieces, 2 pieces, 2 pieces. So we try to tell you how many pieces. Home would be a circle, yes. You know, someday a life goal of mine is to be in a small camper and to get through the whole 50 states, not 50, I guess 48. I can't do Alaska and Hawaii, but I would love to do all 48 states. And there is a map that you can do for camping and RV parking and stuff like that. And then you do the whole trail. And that would be a goal someday. That's on the bucket list. I need to not work for a whole year then. Okay. All right. So then we talk about like cardstock. There's pattern paper. So pattern paper in my lingo, I'll potentially say designer series paper because Stampin' Up! Generally refers to it as designer series paper. Thanks for sharing, Susan Reed. I appreciate it. So I think that might be it for like lingo. So what do we need though for clue 1? So we need some white or vanilla cardstock and it says 2 pieces. So we have a 4 by 5 1/4. And so at this moment, it doesn't matter the direction because it's just a piece of cardstock that will get glued down. And then you guys, I have scraps here. Just remember, these are not for an actual card. These are just to help guide you along. All right, so then there's one more that would be 2 3/4 by 3 3/4. And again, right now it doesn't matter the direction because we haven't gotten that far yet. So you just have those 2 pieces of white or vanilla, okay? So you have a coordinating cardstock. So this is my coordinating cardstock pile. 3 pieces. There's a 3 by 4. Oh, somebody also asked me recently, what do these, oh, I might have frozen. And I froze already, oh my goodness. Okay, so you guys hang tight because I mentioned that this could potentially happen. And if it does, we are going to fix it as soon as we possibly can. So no worries, hang tight. We are back in business. Okay, cool, we're back in business. I got that stuff all figured out pretty fast these days. Okay, so we have here a 3 by 4, and that 3 by 4 is whatever colored cardstock you want. So I just have purple here as an example. So 3 by 4 here, and we're going to talk about this in a second. Hi, Barb Johnson. Okay, we're gonna come back to that one, and this one is 8 1/4 by 4 1/4, scored at, hi Barb Myers, scored at 5 1/2. Okay. I know you guys, the video is freezing. I fixed it right away. We should be okay. If I see it freezing again, we'll definitely do the same thing that we just did. So hang tight, you guys. Okay, so back to this one, the cardstock. We have a 3x4. We have a 8 1/4 by 4 1/4, and there's a score here at 5 1/2, okay? Now, let's go back to this little guy. We said on here, a 2x2 cut in half diagonally. If you weren't sure what that meant, that's where it's important. I just want to show you what it means to cut it in half diagonally. So you have 2 inches by 2 inches. You're going to grab your trimmer and you're going to just cut it in half diagonally, okay? And I'll be honest with you right now. Hi, Latokia. You only need one of these. You do not need the other one. If you want to make a second card, you could save this other one for a different card. But we only need the one right now, okay? All right, so that was that. And then, you guys, I got so creative with my pattern paper. And I don't generally keep a lot of colored copy paper in my hive here. So I drew squiggly lines on it to designate my pattern paper. I was very creative and ingenious, right? So we need 2 pieces of coordinating pattern paper. Now this one though is 4 inches tall by 2 1/2 wide. Okay, so this is my pattern paper. It's 4 by 2 1/2. And then you guys, here's my other piece of pattern paper. All those squiggles are just a design on my paper. It says 1 3/4 by 1 3/4 cut in half diagonally. So the same thing happens here. Just you're going to cut it in half diagonally. You're going to go from corner to opposite corner. So there. That, and again with this one, you guys, which one is the card base so we know which one to use? We'll go through that, Joanna, in clue number 2. Hi, Nanette. We're just working on clue number 1. We want to make sure we have all of our pieces, and then after we have all of our pieces, we'll rock and roll, you guys. So this is the 1 3/4 by 1 3/4 pattern paper. Same thing, you only need one. So if you want to save these, hi Barb Moynan, if you want to save these for something else, you can, but I'm going to just move them off to the side for now. But you need to cut them. Well, this is clue number 1, Joanna. We just went through, and these are the pieces. So you need 2 of your white vanillas. You need the coordinating cardstock. You have 3 pieces, and then you have your pattern paper. Now, we didn't put scraps on here, you guys, but I think generally, hi Jean Terwilliger, generally you have scraps laying around. I pulled in some scraps because there you might want to do some stamping and then fussy cutting. So if you have some scraps nearby, you could potentially pull them and have them handy in case you want to do that, and I'll explain that when we get to that step. Then the other thing that's always good to have on hand are some ribbon and linen thread that's coordinating, your inks and any markers or colored pencils, so depending on what your focal image is, dimensional, scissors, adhesive of choice. So going back here, I missed the stamps. You guys, a focal image not to exceed basically a 4x3 or this white piece. So this is where our focal image is going to potentially go on. And then also sentiment, not to exceed the 2 1/2 by 1/2 inch. So it's going to be a 2 1/2 by 1/2 inch high sentiment. Now you could do other focal images inside and other sentiments inside, but that one is specific because it fits on a certain spot on the inside. Okay, so are you guys at a point where you've got your pieces ready to go? And if you aren't planning to, for those of you that are making the card and working with me, are you ready? Are you ready to go onto clue number 2? Because having our pieces is kind of important. And again, if I know, Joanna, you're cutting, you were tardy, girlfriend. You are not prepared. So hopefully you get prepared in the next couple minutes with your pieces. But in general, are you guys, I see hearts, I see thumbs, perfect. I think that we're going to rock and roll and move on to clue number 2. This is where we're going to start doing some stamping, you guys. Okay? We're going to flip that down. All right. So this is where the stamping comes. We're going to try to get all of our stamping done right away, guys. Okay. So you need a focal image All right, and you have two options, right? So I have two options. So listen to this first, and I'll try to guide you because maybe you're gonna want to do, you're ready, you think. I love it. Well, we're as ready as we're gonna be, right, guys? So you have two options. Ultimately, this piece is the top of your card, right? So if you wanna stamp right on here, you can. You know, put your focal image on here. Your focal image shouldn't like go outside of the lines. This is going to be pretty much the top of your card if you're going to stamp on here. I will tell you that when Kelly and I designed this card, we actually stamped our focal image on a piece of scrap paper, like scraps. And if you have a die cutting machine or a scissors and you want to cut your image out, use scraps. And then what you're going to be able to do is put your image onto this piece, okay? I hope that makes sense. So Jean, you say that I'm freezing, but I'm watching right along with you guys and my hands are moving very fast. So I don't think I'm freezing, but we'll see. I try to watch it like a hawk. So here's what we got, guys. So you're working on a focal image and you're either gonna stamp it directly on here or on some scraps. Now, if you decide to stamp on some scraps, then you need to fussy die cut them and then put them on here. And the one thing that I kind of called out to you guys earlier was about ribbon. Like, if you're not sure, because what you guys use for your focal image will kind of depict where ribbon goes, right? So there's going to be different options for ribbon, and it's going to be kind of hard because you might want to wrap your ribbon around here. You might put a bow on. You might put a little tail that comes out. And by tail, let me tell you what I mean by that. While you guys are stamping your focal image, just keep working on that. I want to kind of have you thinking about the ribbon because I try to incorporate ribbon on every single card. For those of you that know me, I love ribbon. But like, this is what I mean by a little tab. So, and I'll be honest with you, I'll move that back ever so slightly so you can't see it because I am looking at the card Kelly and I made. We put a tab on ours. So this is what I mean by a tab, that it comes out and it would come out the bottom of here. So that might not work for you though. So while you guys are working on your focal image, just keep in mind that I want you to think about where ribbon could go on your card. If you're doing a plant or some sort of flower, you might choose to put like a little bow on it. So like, oh my gosh, you guys. So this is, this is the exact, almost the exact same size. And here's a focal image example that's stamped onto it. And then flowers are put on the top, okay? So in this case, that's not where we stamp our sentiment, but this is an example of what you could do with stamping a focal image and then fussy cutting out some flowers and then putting a bow on it. Like here's another example where if you guys want to stamp and then die cut or fussy cut and then like a little bow. So ultimately, you guys, the top, I'm not sure what color to stamp with. When in doubt, go with espresso. It's almost like black, but it's softer than black, or like a dark gray, Christina, like a basic gray would be really cool. So what in all you guys are trying to do is, if you want to keep it simple, stamp your focal image right on here. If you want to get creative and a little bit more popping up with dimension, you could stamp on your scraps and pop it up. And just keep in mind, oh, here's another one, you guys. Here's another example where you could stamp some flowers directly on here. Just know that our card goes horizontal. You know, keep that in mind, you guys. Because it says here, 2 3/4 tall by 3 3/4 wide. So if you, by chance, end up with your focal image going vertically, it's okay. It'll work. Your card will just open differently. It'll open this way versus this way. So no big deal if that is how your focal image works good. But just know what we had on here for a focal image. We had a focal image not more than 4 inches wide by 3 inches tall. So Again, that might have messed you guys up a little bit now that I look at it. Not quite sure, but hopefully you have something that will work. And now that I've given you guys some time to figure out the stamping and the, you know, what you want to do with die cutting or embossing, not embossing, die cutting or fussy cutting, you just got to give me some guidance as you start to finish this step. And just know, if you picked a focal image that requires a lot of coloring, I don't generally do that, so I don't have a sample to show you with lots of coloring, but if you do end up having some focal images that require a plethora of coloring, you can always come back and finish coloring at the end, right? Not really much is going to go over your focal image on the top here. So I will give you guys a little clue. We loved this card so much. This was from the heart. And what is fussy cutting? Fussy cutting is using a scissors and like fussy cutting around. So fussy cutting is using a scissors to cut. Okay, so don't want that to fall again. So I will give you guys a little clue. Kelly and I, when we designed our card, we did actually use this focal image because this was a card that was for the Heart and Home class that I did Thursday, and we loved this focal image on our card. So just so you guys know, like, that's a little hint. That's what we used. It doesn't mean that you have to, and we changed it. The orientation is going horizontal. Hopefully, Mindy, that answered your question on what fussy cutting is. So, hi, Marcia Coolabert. All right, you guys, I only saw like one thumbs up come in so far. Are you guys at the point, scissors versus die cutting? I love it. Thanks, Judy, for answering that. I appreciate it. So where are you guys at with your stamping and potentially die cutting it out? Ultimately, with our clue number 2, we want to stamp our focal image on here, or we want to put it on separate paper and then attach it. That's what our clue is here. Okay, I've seen maybe about 10 or 15 thumbs ups and hearts coming through. Okay, cool. Awesome. So, Deb Norman's good. Awesome. I love seeing the thumbs up. Jamie's ready for clue number 3. Perfect. Okay, so as a reminder, you guys, if you aren't done with your coloring or cutting of your focal images, don't stress. Just kind of like set that part to the side, or just hang tight, or just keep watching along and you'll get it on later, okay? Hi, Wendy McCormick. Okay, without further ado, we're gonna go on to clue number 3. Okay, oh, Kathy King's ready. So I'm gonna move my scraps out of the way because I'm gonna pretend I stamped right on here. Excuse me. So I kind of talked about this already, you guys. There wasn't room to put it on the last clue, but it's think about how you can use ribbon on your card and add it. At this point, you have a focal image here. Ultimately, I'm going to work a little bit ahead. Ultimately, this piece, if you haven't figured it out, is going to get attached to this. And you do not want anything back here, okay? Nothing. So if you're going to add ribbon, it would be best advised, and like, let's say you want to wrap it around the card, like, okay, so for example, I have this, right? So there's ribbon that's wrapped around. You would want to do it like here, you know, and put it down here. If your card we just talked about has flowers or something where you can put a little teensy tiny bow, you know, you could put a bow. We're not doing a label, so you're not going to be able to add ribbon underneath a label at this point. So just keep in mind that at some point I want you to put ribbon on. I just don't know where it's going to be best for you to do ribbon. We talked about the little tab thing. I call this a little tab. If you want to do a little tab, once you get going and see how the card's going to lay out, this is just a piece of folded ribbon and it's attached right behind here, and then it would go on here, or the tab could go behind this layer. Okay, so hi Marsha Long. I just want you guys to be thinking about ribbon, because at this point, I don't know where it's gonna be best for you to add it. And you might say, well, I'm not putting ribbon on my card, and that's okay. You don't have to. So I just want you to think about it. Marsha, yep, I'm on. All right, you guys. So this now talks about this right here. Fold the 8 1/4 by 4 1/4 cardstock 1 on the score line at 5 1/2. Okay, so this is basically 5 1/2 from this end, And what you can do is, this is an easy clue, you guys, fold that. And what you're gonna do is take your bone folder, if you have one, or a scissors or something, and you're gonna burnish the edge like that, okay? So this is all we're doing right now on this clue is folding this. And I think that, was it Joanna, you were wondering about a card base, okay? Well, now you can see that this piece in essence became our card base. It has made it into a traditional A2 size card, 5.5 by 4.25. So I did see about 5 thumbs ups coming through. I saw another one. Don't forget to, not ribbon, Christine. Yeah, so ribbon is a personal preference, you guys. If you get card kits from me, I would have to say that maybe 1 in 20 cards wouldn't have ribbon on it, but otherwise I do love the ribbon. Hi, Rose from Canada. Okay, I'm seeing that. So that, you guys, was an easy clue. So we're gonna move on to clue number 4. Okay, what do we have here? All right, we're gonna set this piece off to the side for right now. We're good for that. And we're gonna work on a little bit more stamping. So it says here, you have a sentiment, right? If we go back to clue number 1, we had a sentiment that was 2.5 inches wide by 1/2 inch tall. All right, so what we're gonna do is stamp 2.5, no bigger than that. And you guys might change it up a little bit. I'm gonna tell you what the clue is and you can decide what you wanna do. You're gonna stamp that sentiment on the bottom right corner of this mat. And just to give you a little preview, so you're not uncertain, this is your inside mat, okay? I don't like to give away too much, but I don't want you to be fretting or nervous or scared or frightened or afraid to stamp, okay? So ultimately, this gets glued in the inside, right? So this is like a little fun fold. And just to have you understand why it's that size is because ultimately this is gonna go here, okay? So if you guys can see, you have here a little space. It is 2.5 by 1/2 inch. That's why we wanted a small a small sentiment. Now you might decide, oh my gosh, I don't want to stamp a sentiment right there. I like the idea of adding a label to my card and maybe adding ribbon under the label, okay? I have another one I'll show you here as an example. Like here's another one where I added a label in a sentiment, okay? So this is where it's up to your discretion, you guys. This is where it's like there's no right or wrong way to do this. But ultimately our card, our sample, there was a skinny sentiment that was about 2.5 by 1/2 inch, which is actually part of that Heart and Home set. So this is the set we featured for our card. There's a sentiment in there. And we stamped it right here in corresponding ink, right? So you guys maybe guessed that that card that fell earlier was Misty Moonlight and Basic Gray a little bit. So ultimately, we're looking to stamp a sentiment here. And then if we look down here at the rest of this clue, we're also working on the remainder on the inside here. So I love to put focal images and maybe another sentiment on the inside. So I've got here, stamp a corresponding sentiment and or imagery more on the left side. Okay, so because this gets covered up, this gets covered up, you're gonna have a sentiment here, and when you open it up, you could have a little focal image down here in the bottom left corner, and you might have a little sentiment up here. So you might have here, happy birthday, or thinking of you, stamping a little sentiment towards the left, and then may your day be filled with love and happiness, or you are in my heart, thinking of you always, you know. So you could have a complimentary sentiment in the top corner, or you could skip it all together and just use that sentiment. You might decide, I don't want a sentiment right down here, and you might put a sentiment on your actual card, kind of like this card right here, you know, where there's a label on here. So you guys, might be hard for people just that aren't certain, you know, because you're working off of me just showing you scraps and ideas. But ultimate goal with clue number 4, you guys, is to get some sentiments on our card. And if you have your focal image and you want to put a label, go for it. If you'd like to stamp it like we did down in the bottom, go for it. If you want to put a focal image in the bottom, I wouldn't do the right corner because you're going to see it and it would look weird to have part of an image right there. But if you want to stamp a focal image here or a sentiment here, that's our goal right now, okay? We haven't put this stuff all together yet. We're still working on our stamping, right? So, but for me, I'm trying to show you how this card might be coming together so that you have an idea of the stamping that you want to do. I hope that makes sense, you guys. So, as you're figuring out the stamping, please let me know as you're finished and you are good with this clue number 4 here, because it shouldn't be too crazy. In all honesty, if you have a big focal image, something like what we have, like this big flower, and you don't want to put a sentiment here because you like just having this clean border like this, you could open it up and just have a sentiment right in the middle here and then put a focal image down here, right? So this is where, you guys, the options are kind of endless for you, and it kind of depends on what you choose for your focal image. All right, so I see lots of thumbs ups coming through at this point. Oh, Jody Sturman, I see you there. Okay, so I see some thumbs ups. Okay, so ultimately at this point, we're pretty much done with stamping. We've gotten our focal image taken care of, hopefully. It might need some coloring yet. And we've also figured out where or what we might want to do with our sentiments, okay? Popping them up on a label, stamping them directly onto the inside map, whichever works for you guys. So, okay. Perfect. All right, so lots more rolling in. Hearts are coming through. All right, we're ready to move on to clue number 5. We get to get glue happy here, I think. All right, so the pattern paper. Woohoo! So we're going to start. So did you guys, I hope you didn't miss this last clue, but this right here said adhere to the inside of the card. So I am just for S's and G's, we're just going to do that on my, it keeps falling down. Okay, hopefully you didn't see it. All right, so this guy gets glued here. That was the last clue. In case you missed it, you guys, that white mat can go on our inside. Adhere the pattern paper to the cardstock 1. So this was our cardstock 1 front flap. To me, this, you guys, this is a front flap. And you remember, this was my pattern paper with my squiggly line, like I'm in 2nd grade coloring a piece of paper. So what you can do, this is an easy clue, you guys. We're just going to be adhering that to the front flap. So this is our front flap. This is probably like going to be the ugliest card you ever see me make. All right, you guys, this was a really easy clue. So as long as you had that your pattern paper was 4 inches tall by 2.5 inches wide. All right, because remember, we have a horizontal card that we're working on. So as you guys finish adhering your pattern paper to your flap, make sure to throw out some thumbs ups or hearts again, just to let me know that you've got that done. And we're going to keep being glue happy here. So I haven't seen anybody give me their flaps or their flaps, because I was reading the comments or my comment here. Okay, hi Ethel King. All right, I'm seeing some rolling through. Perfect. Okay, so Cindy's good. All right, I see lots of stuff coming through. Oh, look at all the hearts. I love them. Okay, so that was a pretty easy clue. Sometimes we make the clues really easy. All right, Pat gave me a heart. Awesome, love it. So we're gonna move on to numero 6, okay? So let's see what we got here. This one's an easy one too, guys. But I want to heed some caution and warning. Remember, we talked about ribbon. Show us where with the flap. Okay, so you've got a flap like this, okay? So you've got your card base, and this is the front flap, and our designer paper got glued onto our front flap, okay? That's where we got for that, okay? I hope that helps, Elaine. Show us where with the flap. Yep, I hope that's okay. So now, remember I talked about ribbon, all right? You have to know if you're good with your ribbon or not, because at this point, we're adhering this focal image layer. This is the focal image layer. So remember, you have your focal image on here, right? So you have your focal image on the front, and you're going to adhere this. If can never figure out how to give you the hearts. So Sue, if you're on your phone like this, down here at the bottom, if you scroll over, that's where all the emojis are. So watch this. Lots of hearts coming through. Okay, and if you want to do a thumbs up, boom. Don't give me grumpy faces, please. He looks angry. All right, so adhere the focal image layer to the 3x4 cardstock one. Okay, so this is what I want to remind you of. If you need to put ribbon behind here, now is the time to do it. If you need to tape your tails behind here, you do not want any ribbon or glue here. Do you know why? Because this is going to get attached and it is going to be exposed right here, okay? You're on your computer. I can't tell you how to do it on your computer. It's got to be there somewhere. So do you guys get this? That's why if you're going to do ribbon, you got to do it behind here. Now, if you want to do that little tab thing, like we talked about here, you could definitely put the little tab coming out this layer because that gets put on here. So I did see a whole bunch of stuff. So hearts and likes come through. So I'm guessing you guys are at a point where you've glued this down. You've taken into consideration making me happy by adding ribbon somewhere. So Ellen Brover said to Sue Volts, it should be on the bottom right of the screen. So hopefully that helps you. And it should look, Sue, I think it should still look all like that you get the option to pick those things. Okay, so this is all we had for this clue, you guys, is adhering the focal image. Remember, ribbon needs to get figured out somewhere, but not to be exposed on this back half over here. All right. I think that you guys gave me a whole bunch of thumbs up that you had that glued together. Okay, so next to where you write your comments, it should be a smiley face. That is your emojis. Perfect. Christina is still adding ribbon, okay? Kathy King looks like she's good to go. Yes, perfect. I saw all your hearts, Kathy. I never see it either, Sue. Oh, technology. Oh my gosh, you guys, I had a little team Zoom meeting last night, and we walked through how to change it from gallery view to speaker view for Susie. And so it was the first time she had done that. And all it is walking through and talking it through and figuring it out. So when you write a comment, kind of swipe the comment to the left and the emojis will show up. Perfect. Yep, that helps too, Judy. All right, so we're gonna move on to clue number 7. We're rocking and rolling right through our card here, you guys. So adhere the focal image layer. So now this is our focal image layer. You guys, we've glued these together and to the front of the card. Be very, 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 very cautious to only use adhesive on the left side. So I'm going to tell you guys a little trick how I would do something like this. And generally, I love to pop things up, but I'm not going to use dimensionals on this because I would end up throwing this away. But this is how I would do this if I'm using adhesive or dimensionals. So you know that it's this wide. And so what I would do is I would put glue on this side and I would put glue on this side. Then you don't have to guess where to put glue there, and you don't have to guess where you're putting glue here. So by putting glue as the furthest left on this piece and the furthest right on that flap, you're not gonna risk going over on the Price is Right with the little dude with the cliff with trying to guess the price, and then boom, he falls off, okay? So adhere the focal image layer to the front of the card, being cautious to only put it on the left. Okay, so that's this left. So center it, top to bottom, left to right, and it should adhere. And because you did it like that, you don't have any adhesive exposed over here. You also made sure not to put your ribbon there, right? So, so you should be good at this point with your card. It's coming together, but you know, we have a couple pieces left here, you guys, okay? So, we're gonna do those as soon as you guys start to tell me that you're good with clue number 7. Oh, Sue, that was a good tip. I'm happy that you caught that one. I hate having to guess where to put adhesive over here, and I kind of counteract or combat that by doing adhesive on the furthest on one side and the furthest on the other side, and then it's like you don't go over. So, okay, so we're getting there, you guys. Yeah, Judy says he falls off. Yep, me too. My little dude, whenever I was playing along with The Price is Right, like he'd get up to the top, the little mountain climber, and then he'd fall down. So, all right, you guys. So far, so good. Where our card is starting to look like a card, hopefully, okay? We are moving on to clue number 8. And I think this is going to be the little surprise element that you guys are waiting for, okay? So we have some stuff here left. We have 2 pieces. This was their card stock color, right? It was that 2x2 cut in half diagonally. And if you guys recall, this was my 1 3/4 by 1 3/4. It was my squiggly makeshift pattern paper. Technically not the same as that, even though my papers are both purple. No problem, Kimberly. You'll like this one because it's a fun fold. And so you have your 2 pieces here that are cut in half diagonally. And what we need to do is we need to adhere them together, okay? So just grab a little bit of glue and you're going to adhere your little 1 3/4 diagonal and leave a mat, you guys. So that should leave, actually, okay, it's flush on the bottom edge here, okay? So did you see that? I squished them so that these 2 edges align, and it gives you, and you can't see it because it's purple on purple, way to go. So let's do this. So you can see that you have an 1/8 of an inch mat on the one side and the other side, okay? So that is just, this tip, you guys, or this clue is just gluing these together, and you want your 1/8 of an inch on the top and your 1/8 of an inch on the right, okay? If you haven't figured this out yet, we're gonna end up putting this right here on our card, okay? Oh, Stacy Burns, playing games with the kiddos. That is fun, though. You should always make time for the kiddos, and I'm happy to hear you did that. So the replay will be there for forever, and you guys will have till Wednesday night to submit your card entries to get in on the drawing. So you guys, all we did on this clue here was we're putting our corner together. So 1/8 of an inch, 1/8 of an inch, okay? So I see Cindy Runtree's ready to rock onto the next clue, number 9. I'll make sure that you guys, so if you were wondering about the direction of your paper, and if this one didn't work, you guys could go back and grab the other direction, right? So I don't know what you guys ended up for your designer paper, but one of these should work because one would fit one way and one could fit the other way. So hopefully your designer paper works that it's going this way. Okay, so we're rocking, we're good. So we're going to move on. I see lots of thumbs ups and hearts coming through. We're gonna go on to clue number 9, all right? So we have to work with this little paper here, and we need to get it onto our card here. So it's adhere this layer, this is the layer, to the upper right corner of the card only on the top and right edges. So what I'm going to do is, you have 2 choices. You can either glue this or glue this, and it's gonna be easier to glue your little guy here, not the diagonal edge, but you're gonna put a little bit of adhesive on the 90-degree angle here, okay? So what we've got is this little guy, and I put glue on the 90-degree angle, not the diagonal, and then that gets glued onto our top right corner. If you cut your cardstock square, it should line up really nicely. Hi, Colleen. All right, so that's what we got here. Adhere this layer to the upper right corner of the card on the top right, the top and the right edges. And the last little tip on this one, tuck the top right flap of your focal image mat into the corner. So you'll be able to take this now and tuck it in there. And now you've created like a little bit of a fun fold, okay? So we're not done yet though, you guys. So hopefully you've got, this part, and we have clue number 10 yet, okay? which most of you always know what my last clue is because it's my favorite clue, I think. So, all right, what we have on this is the little corner is getting done up there. So that's where you guys, I said, if you save this and you like this fold, you could make a second card using this little guy so it doesn't go to waste. And you'd have another one for that one. And you could always do this card the opposite. You could make it go this way, like depending on the pattern of this other one, and you could put this guy up here and make it open backwards. It would be okay, I think. Depends on your paper and how you can make it work. So that just folds right in there. And then it's looking like we're ready to do my favorite clue, which is in this instance, number 10. And number 10, you guys, is embellish and stella to your heart's content. So embellish, like here, add on those little gems, put these little guys on. Here, like opal rounds, these little pebble rocks. If you guys see what I'm doing here, I'm giving you sneaky peeks of what's coming up in March. Champagne rhinestones, more little pebbly rocks. This one uses diamonds are forever. Some more champagne rhinestones. This one uses my favorite iridescent rhinestones. This one uses the faux sea glass shapes. You guys, you can see I love to embellish, polish dots on this card. And what I'm doing is I'm giving you guys a teaser of almost every March class card that's coming up, because I haven't done my showcase yet, but you guys know I've been working hard on designing cards with Carissa and Diane and myself. And that one is a fun fold. So you guys, just wanted to show you, these are the in color gems. Just wanted to, these are what I'll be doing a showcase for you guys probably tomorrow or Wednesday, running through all of these cards. Oh, I missed one. Look at that one. Oh, I showed that one to you guys earlier though. So, okay. So that was a really bad teaser, you guys. I went through that really, really fast because I didn't want to spend a lot of time like going through them, because I'm going to do a separate video showcasing all of those cards. Those are all class cards coming up for March card classes. If that was like tongue twister. So what I do at the end of every month is I do a special video showcasing what's coming up for the next month, because it's really hard for you guys to see the pictures and like to have the cards have them have justice of like how awesome they really are. And then I can show you the folds. Plus there's a fun folds class the first or second week of March that I didn't even show you them. They're actually on the table over there. So either tomorrow or on Wednesday, I'm going to do that video, and it's going to be awesome, and you guys will be able to see what's coming up, and then it helps you figure out what you want to sign up for my classes. So yay! Hi, Betty Ray. So yes, so that was all about the embellishments, you guys. And so I just want you to get those embellishments on the card. We all love bling, right? So put it on the card and buy more if you run out. Not the inside mate. So Terry said it's glued to the card base. Not the inside mat. That is correct. I'll flip down really quick here. I did glue it to the, it goes straight down onto the card base, and it goes even here. So it's flush on the edges here. So yes. All right. So get that Stella on there too. The Stella is the glitter pen. So what's next though? For those that have been doing this, you guys know what's going to happen is as soon as I get off the live, I'll go into the event. So in Cards by Christine, the Facebook page, I go in and add a post in the discussion, and it says, and it looks just like this, you guys. It looks just like this, and it says, it's time to share. Post a photo of your creation in the comments for a chance to win a prize. Okay, so that's the post you're going to look for. And how to find it, I'm glad you guys like the cards. Woohoo! So how you find it is you need to go into, oh, there's Kelly, my upline. So what you do is you go into my Facebook page, Cards by Christine. You guys, I got permanent ink on my nail there from my thing here. You go to events. So it says events, and then this is already in past events, I'm thinking. So I got to scroll down there to, oh, upcoming events happening now. You have to go into the event. And once you're in the event, under the discussion, that's where it's going to be. So like right now, the event is there, but this will be there. And that's the post that you need to share it under. So under events happening, right now it's happening now, but as soon as this is done, it goes into past events. So you are going to have to scroll down a little bit to see the past events. Okay, so what happens then is you can share as many cards as you want. Like if you make multiple, we want to see them. What this does is it shows you that you could have all the same instructions, but all these cards will look different. And it's so fun to see all the different products that people use, the different color combinations. And even if we all have the same layout, like maybe somebody ended up making their card vertical and see how it works for them. So that's what's fun about this, so that we get to see your ideas. And then before Kelly goes to bed on Wednesday night, she's going to grab all the names and she puts them in a list for me, and we number them 1 through however many, and then we do a random number generator drawing, and for every 20-ish people, I do a drawing. So like, let's say 60 people submit cards, I do 3 prizes, something like that. So yeah, and so just as long as you get your card in before she pulls them, and I always set a deadline of before she goes to bed on Wednesday, which is usually around 11 or something. I don't know if it's midnight ever, but you usually have until about the, later in the evening on Wednesday night. So that gives you guys 2 more days to figure out the card. If you didn't make it or complete it, it gives you time to finish it. So so then the other thing is, you guys, I'll be live tomorrow at some point for Tip Tuesday. And then I think what I'll do is I'll save the showcase for Wednesday, my March card showcase, so that you guys will have another video on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, I'll be live for the ink, paper, scissors with hand pen, which I think I might have potentially 2 more left. I have enough. I've got the cards kitted. It's a matter of just making sure I can get the product ordered in here within a couple days. So if anybody was still on the fence about the hand-penned ink, paper, scissors, make sure you reach out to me because we can make that happen yet. You might not get the kits in time for the class, but you get them soon thereafter. So I think there's either 2 or 3 sets of those left. And then on Friday is sale-a-bration, celebration. So my gosh, you guys, 5 days in a row then. We'll be live Monday, Tuesday, happy days, Thursday, Friday, Wednesday, happy days. I know that was really not the right order of the song, but I make up things. So, okay. Wow, and then I'm in person with sale-a-bration Hoorah Rah. So I do have 1 set of cards left for sale-a-bration Hoorah Rah. It could be either in person on Wednesday or it could be a kit that gets mailed out. So just got to reach out to me if you are interested in that too. And then, I don't know. Oh, and then guess what, you guys? I have absolutely nothing on the calendar for Saturday and Sunday. My mom just asked me, she's like, what do you got this weekend? And I looked, I had to look. There is nothing written on my calendar. I am like, holy Moses and a half, that's so exciting. Like a weekend with nothing planned, you guys. It's like, oh my goodness. Sale-a-bration left. Latokia, I'm not sure if you're asking if there's a sale-a-bration Hoorah Rah left or something else. But yeah, sale-a-bration Hoorah Rah is in person Wednesday. It's online on Friday at 5:30. I have 1 card kit left, like a set of 4 cards. So yeah, like Latokia, if you want it, please text message me right away, because I'm going to be wrapping up this video, you guys, and so I won't catch some comments if they come through. Okay, so Latokia, send me a text message or email me quick. Let me know if you want that Hoorah Rah set of cards, and we'll go from there. So, all right, you guys, I hope you had fun. Kathy said she just had a fun night. I mean, that's the goal for tonight. We keep it short and sweet. We make a card together. I help you forget about all your worries and the stress of the world, hopefully for an hour, and then then you get right back into it, right? So, hi, Jeannie Parker. Oh my gosh, you got here right at the end, maybe, I think. Well, you just said hi, so I don't know when you caught it. But Latokia, I see, yes, please, you want it. So you guys, yes, there's my last sale-a-bration Hoorah Rah is gone now, so I'm all good on that class. Woohoo. My mom loves it when I sell out in a card class because then that doesn't leave kits here. So, all right, you guys, lots of sunshine, love, and hugs to you. Now that I've got these March classes photographed, I'm waiting on Kelly for cover photos, so you're going to start to also see the pictures come through on Facebook. So I'll be working on that over the next few days. So, all right, you guys, love you a long time. We'll see you later. Bye.